Hi everyone, welcome back. Another day, working on the truck. Not sure what we're going to do, but we're just going to keep moving forward. Thank you all so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate every single one of you who's gone on this ride with me, especially the ones who've been there for a long period of time and gone on the racing journey with me, if you see the trophies up in the background there. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so because it is a great way to help support the channel without having to do a lot. You just click a button, you subscribe, you watch the videos, and Google pays me for that. And that helps me a lot. And if a lot of you do it, then I get more money to put into this and other projects. If you really want to help the channel directly, head on over to GleasonBrosRacing.com. Get your merch for the channel, for the race team as well. Because we do racing. If you're new here and you haven't seen any of the racing videos, go back through this last year. It is last year at this point. And go watch some of the racing videos. Because we race full-time at Stafford Speedway up here in Connecticut. We got a couple wins. We got Rookie of the Year. We got all sorts of stuff this past season. So go check that out. We had a lot of fun. And all that merch helps me directly. We have t-shirts, hats, koozies. Oh, hey, behind me, tumblers. And I'm drinking my water out this morning. Stickers, we have all sorts of stuff. It's all really high quality and it's very affordable. I know the season, or the holiday season, is past us now, but you can go get some merch over there and get yourself some nice stuff to wear. GleasonBrosRacing.com. So we're back working on the truck again. And as I've said in previous videos, if I was a full-time YouTuber, this thing would be done, but I'm not. I'm a normal guy. I got a day job. I have to take care of my family, my house and stuff. I don't, if I was a full-time YouTuber, this thing probably would have been done. We had a new project in here. But I'm not. I'm a real person. This is the realest, most honest channel you're probably going to find on YouTube when it comes to stuff like this. I'm a normal guy. I'm doing this out of pocket, Maybe the $100 I get from YouTube every couple months, yeah, I'll throw it right back in it, but, that's spoken for. So, yeah, I know it's dragging, but this is really important to me. And that's why I'm documenting every minute of it. And if you want to hang around, cool. If you don't, whatever, I appreciate everybody who does, though. So what we're doing here is just continuing on. Now, I ordered the drive shaft for it literally at the end of last video, which was last couple days ago as of recording right now. And FedEx already told me, hey, by the way, it's coming today. So that drive shaft's going to be here today. So we can test fit that when it comes in. I do have to pull the dipstick tube, fix the leak. But we also have to do, seat, wiring, plumbing, steering, everything else pretty much. So, we have to start and we have a whole bunch of stuff to do. And when you get stuck on what you want to do in a project like this, just do something, because then you'll just keep moving forward. You know what I mean? So steering has to get figured out. We'll probably start working on that immediately because we're going to run into problems with exhaust and the engine kind of being in the way. The rack is going to sit about right here. And the stem for it is going to come up about right here. But I can't directly put those two together, which kind of stinks. So we got to figure that out. And I wonder if I even have parts to do that with. So I have rotors coming, hubs, bearings, seals for the front. And then we can start getting that put together. We can start running brake lines. I have so much to do. We might as well just start doing something instead of talking about how much we have to do. Also, I know we just said something about not talking about what we have to do in the future, but I did actually do some work. I didn't film it. I do have a seat for this. Now, it did come out of about a 1990, so it's an OBS Chevy truck seat. The only issue is I'm probably going to have to do some fab work in here. All this stuff here is probably going to have to go. This rim here that retained the old seat. Some people have said, hey, you might want to move the gas tank. And I'm like, you don't have to move the gas tank. Now I'm looking at it and I'm like, I think a gas tank might be in order. I might want to get one that goes in the bed or something. So that's something to contemplate for the future. Plus, this thing's I don't know the condition of it. Yeah, it's been in the back here, but if you open that hole up, like the cap, it stinks. And it stinks real bad. Sending unit's junk. All the wiring to it's junk. So I'm kind of thinking about maybe spending a couple bucks and just tacking something in the bed and figuring it out from there. Also, my father-in-law Ken got me a new vise for Christmas, so that was really nice. Thank you. I appreciate that, especially because my current one, which I've had since I moved into this house, is, well, kind of broken. It doesn't stay put, and this thing is bent and really not good. And oh well. So it'll go here once I eventually get time to do that. Great! Got brand new brakes, both sides. Dust covers have been removed, however, because while this side came apart and went back together perfectly, I went and cleaned all the gunk out of the spindles because there was a lot. There was a pile underneath both of these spindles because of old just crap laying around. I took, or at least tried to take this one off, and it snapped 2 of the 3 bolts off, so we're running without dust shields now. That's fine, I guess. But new everything, except for the inner bearings. I did order the wrong ones because I took a guess at that. Didn't quite work out, but they are the same bearings that I run for the race car, so I shoved them in the pile here, and we'll just reuse those on the race car, which is fine. They did look perfect, though. They were still completely covered in grease. They were a nice American-made bearing, like a Timken or something, and they are absolutely perfect. Outer bearings, they didn't look so great, but I had new ones. They did fit. Everything went together perfectly. However, I really do love looking at other people's work sometimes, and this is how they had the cotter pins put in. Well, these aren't cotter pins. These are like nails. I don't know what size they are, but they just put giant nails through the spindle end where the nut is, and then bent them around as a cotter pin. And I'm like, well, I mean, it worked, and that's some rednecky stuff right there, but I put actual cotter pins in, like a professional, even though I'm not one. I'm just glad they put something in there. That's all I really care about. I don't care what it is. And they came out pretty easy. So next we got to move on to the steering rack. And the problem that I'm having is these inner tie rods. If they were 5/8, like one size bigger, I could do anything I wanted with them. However, since these are 9/16 by 18, not 5/8, it's going to be a little bit of a problem. This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to put a little rod end or a sleeve on it, right? Like an adjuster. And put a heim joint or a rod end, which, if you're not familiar with that, is one of these, which I have on my steering. You're probably familiar with them if you've raced or if you've worked on, performance cars or something. So I was going to use those and put them on the ends and just bolt down through the taper for the end of the steering knuckle here. And that way I can just stick a bolt in it, nothing fancy, nothing ridiculous, and I can just put washers under it as a spacer. Now, I don't know about if I can do that now, so I'm going to have to figure something out with these damn tie rod ends. But that'll be for another time. Right now, we got to try to get this thing mounted. How I'm going to mount it, I honestly have no clue. I was going to put angle iron down, weld a nut on the back side of it, bolt through it, and just kind of, there you go, it's mounted. But then I'm like, well, what if I just put a bolt and a sleeve and put it straight into I don't know. It's just, we got to come up with something, and I don't want it to be a weak piece of garbage because this thing's going to be under a lot of stress. You go down the road, you hit bumps, it'll tweak, it'll move, you're going to be wrenching the wheel, so it has to be strong, but I don't want it to be chintzy, I got to make it right. Wow. I did not anticipate getting this far. I'm going to be completely honest with you. My only issue is there's two things, okay? First is I don't think I can actually get the rack off the truck by just releasing the bolts because the steering shaft might hit this thing and it might be in the way. I'll see if I can trim that in the future, or maybe if I don't need all of this cross member. I know these bolts I'm probably going to need for the radiator bracket and supports and stuff. I don't think these are really for anything. Maybe I could do something with that, but for now, the rack is kind of in permanently. But we can cut it off pretty easily, so that's a good thing. I also lucked out heavily, and there are a few issues here. I will show you them. But I bought this kit on eBay. I think I showed you a few episodes ago when it came in. It was just a flat, like Ford-style steering shaft kit, and it came with 3 U-joints. Problem is, all 3 of them were different. Came with the one for the rack, so it's got a splined end on one side and a flat side on the other, so it fits in there, right? That's good. Then it came with this one, which was like the flat side one that fits the kit, but then this massive one that didn't fit anything I had. Luckily, I had a GM-style slip-fit one just kind of sitting in a box. See, I save everything, okay? And because I save everything, I was able to use that, bridge that gap from this massive one I didn't think I could use to the steering shaft that I have. So I was able to bridge that gap. Then I used this Heim with the remaining sleeve from that GM steering shaft and rag joint that I had hanging around. And I used that to kind of bridge this up. Now there's an issue, okay? This one here, I had to hog it out to fit a round one because it was flat on both sides. Not a huge deal. Got it done. It works. I need to not only take this old steering sleeve kind of thing, I need to like affix it to the firewall permanently because see, it kind of moves. But there's also no bearing in here. So I need to find some kind of a bearing that'll hold that from moving. I might just get an old firewall bearing and weld it on or something like that. I'm not too sure at this moment. Maybe I'll just take an old 3/4 Heim joint like this one, take these off, because I don't have anything welded. It's just bolted on and with clamps and stuff, like these little 2 set screws. I can just undo the whole thing, which is great. It's only tacked in here. I can just knock that off, put it in here and weld it to this sleeve, and then take more sheet metal and just weld this to the firewall so it's actually solid. Because otherwise, it actually does work, and it moves. And I put this header on that I'd bought, just for clearance sake, because I knew I was going to need it. The angles are kind of rough, but you know what? They're not that bad. This will work. All right, guys, we are really, really making some progress here. It's a snaky mess. I get it. I understand. But you know what? It doesn't bind. That's all that matters. It does not bind. I was getting a bind before. I shortened this one up a little bit because it was poking in, hitting right here. I didn't want to take that edge off. I'd rather take the shaft down a hair. So we did that, moved it, pushed it in, got her set up. Look at that damage right there. So I took a piece of strap and I welded it to the firewall, and I welded it to the pipe that is kind of the sleeve here. And then I made a sleeve out of an old Heim joint. So I mean, that's just this thing rattling because it's not tight. Literally, that's it. So what we got to do is just kind of finish welding it. It does work. I went into the cabin, I turned the wheel, and it moved lock to lock with no issues. I'm probably going to weld it in all of the serious points. Not on these, but like here, on all the edges where the shaft goes into like one of these couplers or U-joints. Up here, I'm going to do that too, but what I want to do is I want to find the center of the rack, and then I'm going to center the steering wheel as best as humanly possible. Like, I'd really like to be scientific about it and make sure it's actually straight. And then I will tighten this down once I get center and run a bead of weld around it and have that completely solid so it can't come apart in any way. So that is a massive amount of work that we got done today. We got all the new brakes and hubs put together. We got the steering rack installed. We got the steering shaft put in, even passing all the exhaust and stuff. That's pretty awesome. Like I said, I still got some finish work to do on it. That's all right. Not going to put the welder away, though, because I think when I come back out here tomorrow, we might have to dive into the inside of the truck. And I think I'm going to start working on not only getting the gas tank out, because I think that needs to be gone through and figured out. That's if I get the steering shaft kind of centered up, but we can do that at some point. I'll just have to write it on the board to remember it. But the gas tank might have to come out, and I might have to find some kind of a auxiliary tank with like a lower sump or something so that I can just mount that in the bed and use that, like a 15-gallon tank. I'd like to find an aftermarket one with a sending unit built in. There's a company that's kind of starting out right now with their own stuff that's selling stuff for really cheap. I'd like to see if it's any good. I've had it before because I think they only sold their stuff on like Amazon, but now they're branching out into their own thing. So and they don't pay me, so I'm not going to mention their name. So I'm going to try finding something like that. I'm looking around at the exhaust to make sure that that's not going to be an issue when we go to put that together. Everything looks okay so far. I mean, like I said, it's been a struggle for everything, but what are you going to do? You know, when you're starting off with something like this and every single thing has to be custom fabricated in order for it to fit, nothing just kind of bolts up. That's what we're up against. So, all right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. It's been a really long day. Okay, next day. We've got to figure out what to do next now that we have at least the steering kind of hashed out. The rack's mounted. The steering shaft is in place. None of it's finished. Really, it isn't. So I've got to go and figure out what to do next. And I think the right course of action here would probably be go to the interior. Why go here, you ask? Well, because I need room for the seat. I have a seat. It's drying out at the other shop. I've got to get... Oh, also, this tank has to come out. This has to get out of here as well. This whole bracketry, or whatever you want to call this, because for whatever reason, I don't have the factory seat to this truck. I don't know what my dad did with it. I don't know what happened to it. He might have had some idea for something else, got rid of it, and then I never figured that out. So what we have to do, like I said, is get rid of this stuff, because I've got a seat out of an OBS pickup truck that will hopefully fit in here, and they bolt straight up to a flat floor. So with this stuff being in the way, it's got to go. I've also got a tank solution coming that is going to be at least... I don't really know if it's going to be too helpful, but it's going to be different. I have a 15-gallon square fuel cell that I'll probably put in the bed because these running boards are actually pretty solid. I'll probably tie them together a little bit with the rot. But I'll put it in here and run the lines under the truck because it's a bottom sump. And it's got a sending unit in it. So I've also got 4 gauges coming that'll take the place of this whole thing, because I'm weary of the 6-volt system that it's on, and I'd really like to just kind of put something reliable, or at least hopefully reliable, into it. I believe the speedometer works, so we're not going to mess with that too much either. So all this stuff's got to go. Plus, I'm looking underneath the fuel cell, or fuel tank, I should say, and I see daylight. So there's a bunch of holes in the floor that we can patch up as well, so that'll be super useful. And I really hope I'm not making the wrong choice here. So Yeah, here goes nothing.
Okay, I didn't realize there was actually still gas in the tank from like 30 years ago. Oh, it smells bad. And I really hope it's less than how much that thing has for capacity.
So I went inside, took a break, tried to wash the smell off my hand. Apparently I didn't put gloves on fast enough. It's still going. I'm really glad I put my Home Depot bucket under there for this, because I have no idea how much gas is in that tank. But I guess we're going to find out. And also, you know what? A great investment I made was definitely that roof vent fan, because, whew, I could finish my deck with that gas, because that is just, that's all varnish. Wonder how long this is going to take. I got stuff to do. And I got sparks to throw. And if I end up with like 8 gallons of just junk gas, how the hell am I going to end up? How do I get rid of this? I've got 3 gallons of antifreeze sitting over here that I don't know what to do with. I've got, I don't know how many gallons of this disgusting gas that will not work in anything. How do I get rid of that? If I set it on fire, the fire department will be here in 5 seconds, if it even catches fire. And I'm not putting it in my damn oil drums outside. I'm not doing that, because I'm not filling it up with garbage like that. Oh, yummy. That's just awful. And it's stinking up my damn garage, so it's going the hell outside until I figure out what I'm going to do with this, and I'm going to let the shop air out. It's like 2.5 gallons. I might just put it in the oil drum. Why not? I don't know what else to do with it. I might as well just get it out of here for now, though. I'm going to let the fumes kind of dissipate a little bit before we start really diving into cutting some metal and figuring out what to do next, because it stinks. And there's a lot of it in the air. And I've been trying to clean a lot of it out of the 2 layers of tin in this truck, because whoever did the really bad job of covering up all the rot and rust in the floorboard of this thing, they just literally covered it. They didn't cut it out, they covered it. So how am I supposed to fix that? You know? I don't know. So we'll just cut the stuff out we need to cut out, assess, and start hacking. Well, there was a heck of a lot more than I saw before when I started. I got the main frame out, and then I started finding daylight, and daylight, and daylight, and daylight, and even more. Somebody tried to cover it up at some point, but it was really bad, so I tried to just knock out as much as I humanly could while leaving a little bit of patch panel just so I had something to tack to. It's not too bad. I mean, I'm just going to throw some sheet metal down just to kind of make it flat and make sure we don't fall through it. I mean, that's pretty much the extent of what I'm doing. I mean, this isn't a frame-off restoration. This is literally patch it up so you can put it on the road. You know, this is not anything more than let's make it so that we can get a seat in there and it won't fall through the floor and you won't get run over by your own truck. It has to be safe, and that's as safe as I can make it, is to make the cab at least not have any rot in it. So that should work pretty well. We're going to have to get some panels tacked in, but for tonight I think I'm done because the fumes in here are awful. I mean, I had to stop multiple times when I was cutting stuff out. My eyes were burning, you know, it was hard to breathe. This has to be slowly killing me. I mean, it really does, because this can't be good for you. It has to be toxic in some way. So I'm literally just going to close up shop for the night. I've had the fan going the entire night. I had the door open to try to suck the fumes out. Luckily, it's not below freezing. We're kind of lucking out on the weather right now. But I'm still waiting on parts. And drive shaft might be here tomorrow. I think it's going to make it here for this video. But I really do want to go and get at least the seat. And I'd love to get the panels put in. I'm going to have to dig out some sheet metal that's just kind of, I'm looking for it right now. There's some over here. There's a bunch just kind of laying around. I hang on to everything, like I said. So I'm going to go inside and kind of chill out for a minute. And go to work tomorrow, come back and see you then. All right, I'm back and it's package day. Look, I've got a drive shaft, which the stickers fell out and stuff, but, you know. It didn't come with the yoke on it, but it did come with one. I'm still kind of like this about will it fit or not, but I know that these were close, and this one is like a little bit longer, which I'm really kind of hoping it actually fits now. So there's that. Axle's here too, and you know what's really kind of funny? I'm the dumbest human being alive, because somebody in my comment thread said, hey, why didn't you just take the axle you had that didn't fit to a machine shop and just have it trimmed down on the hub so that it fits the drum? And in my incredibly stupid world, I thought they said, why don't you just take the drum to get it machined down? And I'm like, well, you know, this and that and the other thing. And then I'm like, wait a minute, somebody pointed it out, and I'm like, wow, I'm dumb. I should have just did that. I should have just taken the damn axle down to get fit and shoot. But we have another axle here, so that's good. And I guess we'll just use that. So I'll just take that one and put that in whatever I need. I think I might just measure the one that I have because it fit in that axle. And we'll just measure it off of that and cut it and just put it in, I think. So I'm going to get this thing put together, and then we're going to slide into the truck and see if, well, at least they oiled it so it won't rust. I'll just keep that in mind if I need to paint it. But we're going to go see if it fits as well. All right, I know that we are kind of in the middle of putting in a, floor, but this is kind of important as well. I need to know right now if this thing's going to fit. So, come on. Okay. Well, oh boy, that tail shaft is awfully wobbly, huh? Don't like that very much. Let's try popping her in a little straighter like this so that I can access both of those U-joints. Okay. Oh. You know what? She fits. And then when you put her up to, well, not so full droop, it should go in a little bit further. I probably should have bought it another ½ inch longer. What are you going to do? Hopefully this thing doesn't fall down on my head. There's still tape holding this thing on, and there's this thing still here, so I'm going to be under here for a minute, at least buttoning this thing up, and then we can get back to work on other things. Well, yet again, in keeping with tradition on this build, and most of stuff lately, the U-bolt straps that I purchased don't seem to work. They don't pull the U-joint all the way down into the yoke, and that's weird because this says right here, 9-inch Ford 1310 and 1330 U-bolt kit, right? Here's your part number. Here's your brand, by the way. They absolutely do not fit. Not only did they not fit regularly, where I had to spread these out a little bit, but these shoulders here are still round and won't pass by the square yoke in the rear end. So I have more on order that look a lot different than that and actually have some kind of a shoulder to pass that and a shorter top here so that hopefully it'll actually be the correct thing to put in. So that'll be here in 2 days, thanks to Amazon at least. So I'm just going to keep moving forward. I'm going to go grab that. You know what I should do? I shouldn't go grab the axle because it's the nice shiny thing. I should just get back to work on the interior. That needs to get done. And I'll tell you what I cut out of this thing last night was kind of shocking. Although not really that shocking. This truck has spent its entire life up here in the Northeast. And for it being 70-something years old, is totally, absolutely, 100% expected. Like I showed you guys last night, I definitely cut out a whole lot. And there's still some left to be cut out. If you notice, you can see ground through here and here. We'll get to that, hopefully. But you'll also notice that I've already showed this a few times, but this stuff is not stock. That's not stock. This whole front panel here is not stock. I figured out that somebody had boogered in some cab corners at one point. I wonder what kind of candy we got. Ooh, Jolly Ranchers. I've already showed these parts where somebody has definitely taken and made their own panels on this thing, where it is just boogery, not even trimmed to fit. Look, I can put my finger in here. Garbage. But this is just some of what I cut out last night. And a lot of it was underneath. Actually, this is where you could see from the top down. This was the bottom. Yeah, there ain't much left there. Not at all. And somebody had tried to cover it up, but left the old stuff in there. I didn't. I cut the old stuff right out because why have something rotting sitting underneath me when I can just get rid of it? So that's what I did. And seeing as how rotted and disgusting this thing actually is, it just kind of makes me feel good that nothing in this is sacred. You know, this was my dad's truck. You know that it was something special. But since it's a rotted piece of crap that somebody just kind of booger welded back together, I'm just going to do whatever I want to it. And, you know, my dad's vision is very important. But when it comes to making things work, I'm just going to do what I need to do. If that entails me cutting something off of it, don't really care. As long as it works, it runs down the road, and it looks like my dad's truck, then it's actually been a success. All right, we're back focusing on things that we need to get done. So I'll probably end up trimming this stuff out that I need to trim out. I'm going to use some of this old stuff that I'd already cut out because it's actually pretty thick sheet metal, and it's still pretty good, honestly. There's only a little bit of surface rust on it, and if I just paint over it, we're good to go. I have a lot of scrap metal just from building bodies and doing things, just kind of laying around, so I'm just kind of tossing it in here. I'm going to grab some kind of paint pen and some Tim Snips and probably my little whizzer wheel dealy to try to take some of this paint off. I might even go through the welder and just kind of put my 023 wire in for tack welding stuff. Not too sure yet, just because I know I'm getting low on the 030. I still have this stuff over here as well, plus I have a whole plethora of it behind these shelves here and just kind of strewn about all over the place. Like I even have really tall stuff over here, just all the way down the shelf. So I've got sheet metal. There's no problem with that. It's just a matter of getting it put in here. So time to stop talking, time to start welding. Just we need a flat place and somewhere to put the seat so that we can put everything together and be ready to go once we get all the interior stuff patched up.
Well, it's a floor again, for the most part. I think if we either paint it or just chuck some sound deadening material over it with a little cheap piece of carpet to keep our feet from running through it, it'll be perfect. So now I think I'm just going to move out of here because I can't do much more because the welding tank is empty. So I got to get that refilled tomorrow. But I'm going to move to the back because since the axle's in, ever since that comment, now you got me thinking. I mean, I already paid for the axle. I might as well use it. So I'm just kind of thinking, do I actually wait and do that machining and keep the other one for my race car? Or do I just throw it in there because it won't matter? I'll just throw it in. Best course of action is probably going to be putting the bearings on the axles first before we start putting other stuff on the rear end. Because we got to bolt the backing plates to it. Oh, we got to get studs in the axles as well. And the bearings. So we shouldn't get too far ahead of ourselves. If we're going to work on one thing, we should have everything to work on that one thing, being the rear axle. Well, we're making some mild progress. The old axle that needed that special bearing, that went on all right. And that looks like the retainer's on and everything's good. I just got to put the lugs in that thing. However, the brand new one, right here, and the bearing that is supposed to fit it, now we're having problems. I could not, for the life of me, get the bearing over the race. And it's supposed to be the correct one. I have a 12-ton press. And it bottomed out the press on the pressure relief valve twice. And I can see a clear witness mark around the top of the race, but not on the race. So the bearing and the other one that I had, which I think I've put away actually, are exactly the same size. This is like 1.562. Yep, there we go. Okay. 1.529. So I think that's a little bit too far apart on each other for us to be able to do this, but I'm going to try. I might try just kind of polishing the edge here to see if it rides up on it, but it doesn't feel like it's a hard edge, so I think we're kind of up a creek. When I said this thing was problematic and it felt like running with a bungee cord strapped to your back, I didn't mean that's how I wanted it to be. I meant that it's problematic. I didn't want it to be that way. I wanted to just kind of, throw it together and go do burnouts. Everything is fighting us. So I'll figure something out with this stupid bearing. I don't know. They came from the same place, the same manufacturer, the same retailer. I don't know. It's garbage. All parts are garbage nowadays. All right. I think it's a little late, though. I'm going to get out of here. I'll figure out a solution for that later because, boy, working full-time and then trying to come in here and work all night, it's killing me, man. And financially, it's killing me, too. This thing is almost as bad as building a race car, like, on cost. And it's even with having most of the parts, this is killing me. I don't know how regular hot rod guys do it. They probably don't do it anymore, given the state of the, aftermarket. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I'll catch you later. Okay, it is the next day, and I have a bunch more stuff that came in to help us hopefully make progress on this truck. However, it's not really going to help me with trying to make progress on it right now, considering the problem with the bearings that we've been having. But in the future, we should be able to make some more progress. I got my whole fuel system in, including the brand new 15-gallon fuel tank with integrated sending unit. Now, it is cheap Chinese, and it comes from a startup company using cheap Chinese stuff, but selling it rather inexpensively. So I figured I'd give it a shot. And their name is really dumb, but, marketing stuff. I also got pretty much everything to finish the wiring in this thing. I got a junction block, actually 2 junction blocks, 1 power, 1 ground. I'm burning cardboard, so my apologies. A 0 gauge wiring kit. So basically I can run a whole bunch of battery wire, but I don't need to. So I've got everything I need for that. And it even came with the crimping tools and everything. So that's pretty good. I got the starter solenoid. I don't know where that went, but I keep stepping on all this scrap metal I cut out of the truck.
Ah, yes, here's the remainder of my Chinese cheap wiring setup. I got this fast run, whatever, knockoff name, remote starter solenoid. I'm going to run everything off of this. It's like a Ford style or tractor style solenoid. And I got the commutador, everlasting, turn and stop signal lever. Whatever. It's got an electronic flasher, which we know is going to work forever. It's got the turn signal stalk in here somewhere. That's literally just a hose clamp, which will break. And it shows you which side's blinking and hazard lights and all that stuff. It comes pre-wired, and you just hook it up to your steering shaft, which is what I have. So that was, $15 well spent, and it'll probably not work, but whatever. So there's that. I also got it in my cheap Chinese wiring harness that it needs to go on as well. I got to work doing a little bit of painting and just touching up all the stuff that I just did. So I figured, rust-proof that a little bit. I got a bunch of sound deadening material that we're going to put in here. What I want to do is at least try to knock the rattling down, because the rattling sucks. And that is going to do that. Because I didn't have enough wire or air, which I actually went and got. I got a fresh tank, so that's good. But I didn't have enough to weld all the way down every single seam. So it's tack welded all the way around it. And that one's welded pretty well, but it's going to rattle. So sound deadening material, just roll it on in there. Throw a nice strip of carpet right here. Just a big square or rectangle of carpet up here. And glue it down and we'll be good to go. For now, I just need to focus on getting that bearing put on that last remaining axle, which, considering the fact that it came from the same places and the same manufacturer and the same retailer, like I'd mentioned before, it should work. Does it? Probably not, because I measured all of the specifics of it, and it just won't fit. I know it won't. And since it's a sealed bearing, like there's seals in it, I can't heat it. There's like a rubber O-ring I could take out. That's not too difficult. But there's these like plastic seals in here, and I don't think I could get them out without ruining them. So just heating the bearing up to try to make that expand, not going to work. So I don't really know what to do there other than maybe I'll bevel this edge a little bit more and just jam the thing on there and hope for the best. I mean, I got to do the math, but it's like 20-something thousandths of an inch, I think. I don't remember, but right now it sucks. Do you ever just light money on fire? Because that's definitely a never buy again product. That cost me probably $35 a piece. I have two of them. Both of them are the same size, so what makes you think I'm going to go and use the second one on this axle? Remember when you guys commented and said, hey, you should have just turned that axle down and, you probably would have been fine? Yeah, I probably should have. And that bearing didn't break while I was compressing it. It actually broke when I released it. So that's pretty great. So I got to figure something else out once I'm done with having the bumper fall on me. Anyway, I still have the other axle that I could get turned, but it's Friday, and I won't get that for a while. By the way, you know those specialty bearings I had to put on my old axles? Yeah, that went fine. No problem whatsoever. Zero issue. No anomalies. There's places that I've bought race car parts from and regular parts from for a long period of time. And I think I'm just going to stop going there. Because the quality of the parts is just trash. And it's really kind of hampered my ability to build this truck because of their shoddy garbage. And if Speedway Motors is watching, which you're probably not, change your suppliers. Because your parts suck. Well, that was stupid. That took me forever to find the right bearing and get it here, but it won't be here in time for this video. Anyway, that disappointment over. I got to move on to something else. That is going to have to be whatever I see ahead of me. I should just start bolting the backing plates on because those are going to need to be on anyway. Although I can't really do that because I need to have the axles put in because they're bolt-in axles. So I guess that'll wait. Anyway, we should start stripping the old lines out of the truck. I got brake lines, I got fuel lines, I got all sorts of stuff that I have to make. Plus, I should get some stuff out of the bed because this thing is full of crap and I kind of need to work in here. I should put the hood outside just to wash it off at this point. I mean, it's been in here and bending that side of the bed forever. I should just haul it out of here and stand it up against something because it's disgusting and it's full of mouse pee and dust and all sorts of other scones from 30 years of sitting. But there's also a bunch of old fuel lines, there's brake lines, plus we need to start making some. This isn't going to be useful at all. There's also a bunch of other stuff I need to strip out. Like there's these old, I don't know what these are. There's like 2 knobs that you pull on the dash. One's probably like a throttle, like you can throttle it up. And the other one is like a manual choke. And like, we're not using any of this crap, so I should just get rid of those things. But anyway, I want to make brake lines. I want to at least start on that. I should strip all the wiring. I should strip everything. Just take everything out of the damn truck and start over. Because if I know what it is, then at least I know where it goes, what it does, and what it's meant to be. Like this thing, I don't have any clue what that is. There's an old knob and tube wiring or whatever that was. I dropped it on the ground. It's now gone forever. There's like some old wiring. Like this is my dad's handwriting. There's some newer looking wires that are numbered. I don't even know what that's for. But this truck needs to be converted over to 12 volt anyway, because I'm not dealing with this 6 volt crap. Plus, I can't turn this thing over with 6 volts. I can barely turn it over with 12 with the compression it has. So, just find something to do and do it. As I'm laying under here, you know, it looks way better now that I put these patch panels in. Because remember, it was real ugly. Like, there was all sorts of popcorny garbage looking over here. Now it's just kind of, well, fresh sheet metal. Look all the way over there, fresh sheet metal. Doesn't look too bad. I'm going to get under here and paint it at least. I don't even know if I have enough. I do have, you know, somebody, again, they just kind of patched over the rot over here. And I do have these patch panels for the front if we ever decide that we really want to tackle that. But that could be a future thing. I am kind of going through here and just trying to figure out where these fuel lines go. Ooh, a junction, look at that. But this guy, whoever put this thing together, was right after my own heart because all they did with these lines, which are clearly not factory, was they just zip tied them in. And I'm like, damn, that's the stuff I would do. And that's probably what I'm also going to do anyway. So I'm kind of going through here. Oh, it crosses. Okay. Sorry, I'm learning in real time what's going on here. And then there's, oh, okay, because, yeah, that's right. That's where the master cylinder used to be. And it's dripping. All right. Like I said, I'm learning on the fly here, guys. So I'm going to get this disgusting pile of hose out of here. Maybe. And I'll catch back up with you. As I'm going through the learning process, so we got that line coming from down there to that T-junction to the front. And I took a T-junction off of this. And then I was like, why is there a T-junction there? Oh, because it goes underneath to the other wheel. And then I'm like, wait a minute. The master cylinder is probably a single pot master cylinder with one hose. That's bad. So I'll probably end up just ripping every single brake line out of here. Because I just don't want to deal with having all these junctions and stuff bolted down, and it's going to be a complete nightmare. I might as well just run all new brake lines the way that I know how, because we have a brand new master cylinder. Oh, geez. And I shouldn't trust any of this stuff. Like, I don't know if I need a 1/4-inch line to run to the back. I'm going to have to look that up. But I also have the proportioning valve that I bought that I don't know how to use. It has a dial that I could take rear brake out of it if I want. Like, if I want to do burnouts, I could just crank the hell out of it. And it has a little brake pressure switch for your brake lights, so that's kind of helpful. So that I don't have to hook up a switch to the pedal or anything like that. But I don't know how to hook this up. I don't have a clue. And by the way, there's no instructions. There's nothing. Like, there's absolutely nothing. There's not a clue. That's how it came. That's it. And I don't know what the hell to do with this. So I'm probably going to have to like take a picture of this with Google Lens or Chat GPT or whatever the hell and figure it out. But this is a nightmare. Figuring out stuff with no instructions when you don't even know what to do with it is the worst. After the complete fiasco of exploding a bearing and completely shutting us down on any sort of work trying to put the rest of the rear end together, I decided to do some tedious work, being take some lines out and just kind of empty boxes out by installing parts. Headers are on, and you know what's really funny? The nicest parts of all the problems that we've had so far, of all the issues, of all the fitment and all this other stuff, these headers I bought off Temu for $85 are perfect. All the hardware fits. The flange is thick. It's like a 1/4 inch thick. This thing is massive, this flange. All the welds are perfect. It went on. Absolutely no issue. Comes with all the gaskets. Probably will blow them right out, but whatever. Both sides fit like an absolute dream. Now, I decided to start doing really tedious stuff like these brake lines. I still have to pull them back off just to bleed everything, but that's okay. I just wanted to mock them up for now. And this is a wiggly mess for a reason. This thing is supposed to mount over here. Then the lines would go straight in on these ports. But since I got to run the front port here to this port, I had to snake it around and go under here. And the rear port had to go up front here because this is your rear bias. The front port will split 2 out here, and we'll just run them down the firewall, snake them wherever they got to go. Rear port comes through here, and you can adjust this lever or knob or whatever this is. There's your rear port. You can run that out to the back of the truck, tee it off at the flex hose. You're good to go. So we got that done, and making lines by hand is really tedious work. I had to go grab my little hand flaring tool. I think I got one of them Capri Tools hand ones. It works really great. They didn't give me no money, so whatever. But it just takes forever. And you know what's cool? I didn't realize this. I don't know if I need it or not, but I got 2 coils of hose when I bought this from Amazon. I got 1/4 inch line and I got 3/16 line. So I was like, oh, I don't need 1/4 inch line. Here I was thinking I might need it. Nope, you're good. So I don't even think I need it, to be honest with you. So I'll just wipe that 3/16 one out by running it all the way down the truck. Maybe I'll even reuse it. I don't know. I got line in here already, but we'll figure it out later. But I'll be honest with you, this week has been the story of my life with this truck. Waiting on parts, and whatever parts I get are garbage. And they either don't fit or break or explode in my face. Luckily, I was smart enough to be wearing my safety glasses, even though nothing hit me, thankfully, because God, that would have hurt. I saw the shards that came off that. It was not good. However, I'm still just battling. We're battling. You know, we got a lot done. We got the brakes, got the steering, got the exhaust started. We're just battling, man. I mean, that's what we got to do just to get moving forward. I wish I could work on this thing full time. But man, it's such a struggle right now. The floor took us like 2 days. The steering took us like 2 days. So we wiped a week out on basically just steering and floor, which really stinks. I might be back out here tomorrow, but for now, my feet are killing me. My legs are killing me. I've literally been pulling 14-hour days between my day job and this for months, even with the racing season. So that's really been taxing, and I'm just trying to keep my mind together at this moment. So I really hope this isn't terribly boring for you guys, but I really am I'm trying my best here. And I wish I had more humor in me. I wish I had more energy, but man, I'm just worn out. And I'm just going to go take a break. And thankfully, we got the floor done. Thankfully, we got some stuff started. Oh, I can use that 1/4-inch line for transmission cooler line. That'll help a lot. Cool, we found some use for it. I should get a radiator on order. So anyway, I'll go inside and start wasting more of my money. And I might see you guys tomorrow. All right, guys, I'm back for one more day. Got some more parts in. I got some different straps for the axle there. I got my tie rod bump steer kit. I got some sound deadening material also, some sheets of that for the interior. I got some more welding wire while I was driving by Harbor Freight at work. I don't know if these tie rod ends are going to work for this truck application, but you know what? At least I tried. Let's give it a shot. All right, this is the moment of truth here. We got this kit from eBay. It's just some unnamed kit with 5/8 Heims. It was made directly for a 79 to 93 Mustang steering rack, and I'm like, well, this is a Ford rack. Figured it'd be about the same. Came with all the hardware and all the bubble wrap you could ever imagine. Now, they came with these longer, they say they're 5/8 bolts, but they look like 1/2 inch to me. Not really sure. You know what, I might as well open them up. I love that they give you reclosable bags whenever they send you parts, like you're going to use them. I don't know, dog. These might be 5/8. Yeah, we're going to have to drill the spindle out. Perfect. All right, that's good. So that part's good. That will work. What I am worried about is how long this is going to... Oh, we're good, dude. Yeah, I got a lot to go on this Heim here, or this rod end. I call them Heim joints. They're usually called rod ends. I don't know why I call them Heim joints, but that's okay. So this has actually got a bump steer kit. So there's spacers in it that are machined that I can actually use to set these tie rods to be like more level when we're driving down the road so we don't bump steer too bad. And that's good because I don't know where this thing's going to go, top or bottom of the steering knuckle here. But it looks like it's going to fit pretty well. And you see it's got a lot of room for movement, especially if I space it up a hair. Then we got a lot more room for movement. So that's going to be really good. This is going to work. So I'm going to work on at least just putting them on. At least they come with jam nuts too. There's a jam nut here on the tie rod, or the inner tie rod. And there's a jam nut that comes with the rod end. So again, I don't really know the quality of these. They say they're chrome moly and they're really strong. I'm like, they look like mild steel. They don't look that special. I mean, when you pay $80 for a bump steer kit on eBay, you know, you got to know that you're getting into something here. So let's just take a look. Oh yeah, dude, more adjustment than necessary. These might even be too long, but you know what? That's going to work. That's a great solution. Okay, guys, you ready? For the first time that I've ever seen on this truck since it was parked, really. I mean, when it was factory, it worked, but it steers. Oh my God, this thing's like 3 3/4 turns lock to lock. This is gonna be... Actually, you know what? With a manual rack, you probably want that, but... And the steering wheel's like 18 inches. This thing's gonna be a boat. But check that out! Doesn't that look racerific on a old beat-up old Chevy truck? That's pretty rad. So now that we've got most of the steering kind of done, we can start finalizing it, because I've been working on this truck for how many weeks or months at this point. I got a bunch of stuff that's like half finished, so we're going to start finishing things. This steering has no binds where it sits Now, I'm going to go through and finish. I'm going to trim this off because I use this rod end as a firewall bearing. We're going to finish up welding everything. I'm going to weld all the way around all of these joints here. Probably leave this thing alone, but I do have to weld it in place because it needs to stay there. You know, get all the way around all of these except for here because I need this to be removable, so we'll tighten that down. But we're also going to remove all these stop nuts and jam nuts and whatever you want to call these things and get them the hell out of here because I don't trust them as far as I can throw them. I want to weld on all the steering components because I don't want anything coming apart. And we're going to leave this open, like I said, on the top because I want to be able to center the steering wheel before I send it. And we'll finish this off, and that'll be the steering done. Steering's done. I'd say it's done, except for adjusting. Done. So now I think what we're going to have to do is, at this moment, shut it down. But clearly we still have a lot left to do. And everything's still hinging upon the rear axle. And that's been the theme of this damn build ever since we started, was we're waiting on something for the rear axles. The center section, then the U-joint straps, the drive shaft, brakes. We're just always waiting on something. And you know, the problem with me working 14-hour days between my day job and this means I don't have a lot of time to plan. All I can really do is say, okay, I need this, order it, wait for it while I work on something else, and then if it shows up, work on that. And then, you know, that's why we're probably not as popular on YouTube as we probably should be, but you know, I'm trying. I really am. And I hope you guys enjoy a lot of this stuff. And again, if you guys have been around for a long time, you know I don't work in the automotive industry. I work in logistics, and that's not automotive. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a mechanic. I am 100% self-taught. And you know as well as I do that you can do it too. And that's the reason I put this channel together, was to try to get people to do things on their own and to, whoa, truck's grabbing me, and to learn. This is living history. You know, this is us preserving history, especially for future generations. And if we can't do it in a bigger sense than this, then at least we're doing something, right? So if you guys could help me out by supporting the channel in a couple different ways, subscribing helps a ton. It really does. I'm not here for the fame. I'm not here for that. I'm here to try to just like grow a community of people who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty, you know? It's not like I'm Mike Rowe out there trying to get people to do dirty jobs. What I'm saying is that you're capable of anything. You really are. And you can do this stuff. If I can do this, you can do this. I'm just a normal guy. I'm not that intelligent. If I was, I'd be so rich I wouldn't need this damn channel. So anyway, I'll just gloss over that. So if you want to help directly, that's one way to do it. You can subscribe and you can share. You can help me out on social media. Send me to all your friends, to people you know. But also, and that's free. That's the free way to do it. And then Google will pay me, and that helps a bit. I mean, it's not a lot, but it helps, you know, a couple $100 every few months. It's fine, you know, but I really could use the direct help. And that includes you guys going to GleasonBrosRacing.com. You know, if you don't want a t-shirt or a hat or anything, we have stickers. I mean, I'm trying to get some new stuff out there, and if you have some suggestions, I'm, you know, more than willing to accept them. And if you'd like, you know, like my mother, she said, hey, why don't you put polo shirts up? Done, I put them up. I like suggestions. So if you have one, let me know. But we have shirts, hats, polo shirts, stickers, koozies, tumblers, you name it. We have novelty t-shirts. We have race team shirts. And they're all very affordable and very good quality as well. We had a couple issues, but they're now fixed. Everything should be good. Grab a sticker, grab a hat, grab anything. Just help me out a little bit here or there. It really does help. GleasonBrosRacing.com. And by the way,
To those of you who held on to this whole project the entire time, thank you so much. I really can't tell you how much I appreciate it, because it's not a lot of you. That first video I put out, I wasn't trying to be clickbaity, but it got like tens of thousands of views, and I'm like, well, that's cool, but I've been around here way too long to know that they're not going to hang around. You know, I've been doing this for, 5-6 weeks now, and it's like, people don't have the attention spans for that, but for those of you who do, thank you guys so much. Like, this means more to me than you'll ever realize, and for you guys to hang around, because I know you guys are the ones who will watch all the way to the end of these things, thank you. It really does mean a lot to me. So thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate it. I'll see you next time.